Well, everyone, the second domino has fallen in the race to raise prices across the board in the industry. I don't normally stream on Thursdays. I have like an eye doctor appointment in like 30 minutes, but I figured I would talk about this because it's such a big deal. We just have to talk about it. I mean, it's very urgent and significant. So what has happened in case you missed it? Well, Xbox, Microsoft, I guess as well, they have confirmed that they're raising the prices of pretty much everything, not just now, but through the holiday season. So they've raised the price of the Series S from $300 to $380, the Series S 1 terabyte version to $430 from $350. The Series X digital is now $550, up $100 from the original price of $450. The base Series X is up $100 to $600. The Series X 2 terabyte version is at $730. And you can see some of these other things like the wireless controller is up $10. The Elite Series 2 Core is up $10. The Elite Series 2 full whatever variant is up $20. The headset is up $10. And they've also confirmed that they're going to be raising the premium AAA games that they have to $80 as well. So they're big flagship games, like I'm guessing Call of Duty, I'm guessing eventually games like Fable, Gears, all of those are going to be hitting $80 starting this holiday season. And just everything across the board is seeing price hikes. And this was kind of surprising to a lot of people, myself included, but also like not that shocking when you think about it a little bit more, because Microsoft just had an earnings call, a very good earnings call, an earnings call that went so well. You see this massive skyrocketing of their stock price. Yeah, that's because they dropped their earnings call that was so positive that everybody was wildly impressed. It raised the price not just of their stock in the market, but also of a bunch of other sort of satellite companies that work with Microsoft. Also saw like 3, 4, 5% skyrocketings in their stock price just because of how good these earnings were. Even in certain sectors that have been stagnating, like gaming, where growth has been pretty much non-existent for the last 18 months to 2 years, they still saw 5%, 6% year-over-year growth, which is wildly impressive, especially because a lot of people and a lot of other companies have been really struggling. And it's apparently because of Game Pass growth, Call of Duty doing well, and Minecraft also specifically doing quite well, is what they said in the earnings call, crediting the success of the Xbox business right now, which is just funny that, you know, something like Minecraft, all these years after its initial launch, can still be doing huge heavy lifting for a massive company like Xbox within Microsoft, which is a giga company. But a lot of people were really frustrated by this, naturally, because Microsoft is a $3.2 trillion firm, okay? That T stands for trillion, okay? The market cap, that's just if you multiply the total outstanding number of shares by this price point, okay? If you multiply that, that gives you the value of the company as it's appraised by the market, and that puts it at $3.21 trillion. And people are like, you're worth $3.21 trillion. Why are you raising the prices on all of these like little gaming peripherals on the consoles? Why are you doing this? Don't you have enough money? But here's the thing, and we've said this on stream 1,000 times. The reason they're worth $3.2 trillion is because they do stuff like this. If they didn't raise prices like this, they wouldn't be worth $3.2 trillion, okay? They'd be worth a good bit less, okay? There's a reason why there's the stereotype of like soulless corporate sociopathic board of directors. Like there's a reason why that stereotype holds true, and it's because if you want to be the most successful business you can, you have to just like no generosity, okay? No throwing gamers a bone because you had a good year. That's not a thing if you're talking about these giga corporations, okay? It's just not. But I mean, I think now the elephant in the room for most people is that this pretty much prices, I would assume, the average consumer out of an Xbox. I don't know why you would be going to the store and then see a $600 Series X next to like a $500, $550 PlayStation 5 and go with the Xbox. I just don't think it makes sense. I mean, even Synth Potato here on Twitter said, there's literally not a single reason anyone would buy a Series X for $600. Why is this console more expensive than the PS5 when it's not as powerful and has been underselling for years? Never seen a console that's underperforming raise its price in response. That assumes that PlayStation stays where it is. And I would bet you 3 or 4 live service games that PlayStation is going to be raising their prices across the board. within a few weeks. I mean, I would be shocked if they didn't. Almost certainly they will. I mean, this is happening for very, very broad reasons that affect everybody. Things like tariffs. Shocker, when you put like 145% tariff or even reduced tariffs of like 20% or 40% on electronics goods that are coming out of China, where all of these consoles are manufactured, that raises the cost to produce and import them into a market like the US, which is a massive market for these consoles. And as a result, it reduces the profitability, it reduces the margin. And so in order to balance that out, you have to raise the margins everywhere else to make up for it. So you see companies like Xbox raising the prices across the board globally to help make up for the lower margins that you'll see in markets like the US. This is a very normal thing that happens all the time, where like you might take a little bit more from the Europeans or from the Australians if it means you can make up for some losses in like a Japanese market or the US markets and things. It's pretty standard. So tariffs are certainly an element of this. But the other thing is just inflation. I mean, inflation's been crazy. These companies, their margins have been shrinking, even though the hardware has stayed the same, even though their businesses have been fine. Inflation just making the dollar worth less means that you just kind of have to figure out other ways of increasing the price point that you're getting and increase the money that's flowing in. And they're doing that by just raising the prices across the board. So right now in this moment, I agree, Synth Potato, I agree that it doesn't really make sense to pay $600 for a Series X in comparison to what you see like with the lineup on PlayStation, unless you factor in other things like the value of Game Pass, saving money on these full price copies. Because now Xbox games on PlayStation, the premium ones will be $80. You want to buy Call of Duty on PS5? It's going to be $80. I almost guarantee you. You want to buy, Gears when it comes to PlayStation. You want to buy Starfield when it launches on PlayStation. It's probably $80 as well. So it's not a super simple equation. Sure, there is still an argument, I guess, to be made for Xbox hardware, but it definitely becomes a much harder argument to win now that the prices are so much higher. But it's only a matter of time before PlayStation follows suit. Let's be real for just 10 seconds. PlayStation has already raised the prices of their consoles this generation. They've raised prices of peripherals. They've raised prices on many, many different things. And so it's only a matter of time before they follow. And I don't know exactly how they'll do it. They might do like a showcase late May, which is sort of being rumored. It might slip into early June, but it's being rumored for late May, in which case they probably do a gameplay deep dive on Ghosts of Yotei. They probably show that rumored God of War spin-off game. That's like a backstory for Kratos, exploring his relationship with his father and all of that stuff. They probably reveal all of that stuff and then confirm Ghost of Yotei. Like, I think they've already said it's going to be at 70, but then probably also mention that, the PS5 is going to go up $50 or $100 here and there. And they're just going to slowly walk you up the pricing ladder. And that's how it's going to happen. I mean, let's just be perfectly honest. And the other piece of this too, shocker. I mean, mark it off your bingo card for this video, because we went a whole video almost now talking about it, but GTA 6, it's the elephant that's not in the room yet. And, if you have your console as an option to play GTA 6, you would much rather have it with a wider margin before GTA 6 comes out than a smaller margin, because these consoles are going to start to sell out, I would guess, in the weeks leading up to GTA 6, because there's a lot of people who have not moved into the current gen, but GTA 6 will be the game that pushes them into it. And if the PS5 is sold out, people will buy a Series X just to play Grand Theft Auto 6. If they're upgrading from Xbox One or PS4, they'll just buy the Series X. And so if they can get the margin wider by increasing the price by $100, they're going to do it, which is why I think you'll see PlayStation also raising the price before GTA 6, before the fall. They might not raise it until later in the summer when the news is kind of quiet. They might sit on it all the way till like July when basically no news comes out. So it just kind of like bloop, and they can just raise prices quietly. But time will tell. This is just the reality of the industry now, is that all the prices are skyrocketing. People point back to the good old days of the PS4 era when these games were getting price cuts, or rather the consoles and accessories were getting price cuts, where the PS4 launches at like whatever it was, 400 or 450, I forget exactly where it was. But then it gets cut down with a slim variant to $299, and all of a sudden it's a way better value. And then they announce the Pro at the original price of the starter console. Those days are just gone. they're just gone. And, you know, we can miss them. We can appreciate them for what they were, but that's just not how it is anymore. Unfortunately. But again, it's the hardcore gamers are not the ones that are really going to be affected by this. Hardcore gamers probably already have a Series X. They probably already have a Series S. They probably already have, you know, for when PlayStation eventually raises their price, they probably already have a PlayStation if they want it. Hardcore gamers will not be that affected. Raising the price to like by $10, $20, that's not that jarring if you spend a lot of money on games. Who this affects are the more casual crowd, the people who are not viewing gaming as their primary hobby, the people who maybe are in high school or college and don't have a lot of cash. Those people are the ones that are going to be seriously affected by this, and that's where it's just really, really unfortunate. You know, there are programs like Game Pass that can make this more approachable to give your dollar a better value, which is certainly the case. You know, Xbox has been doing very, very well recently, even having Clair Obscur Expedition 33 on Game Pass and the Oblivion remaster on Game Pass included. Like, just those two releases should fill up your calendar for a month or two at the very least. But it's just really unfortunate to see the industry going this route. But the moment one big, you know, corporation decides to do it with their platform, all the others will follow, because then they don't have to absorb all the blame for it. And so it's just a matter of time before you see PlayStation doing it as well. But, you know, time will tell exactly when that happens. This is the new norm, fam. $600 base consoles, as you can see, Series X, $600, up from $500. They're walking very close. They're walking that ladder. And Tyro, I would not be shocked at all if the next generation base consoles are starting at like $800-900. They might even slip up towards $1,000, and then they have like a budget variant that's like $600 or $700. I'd be very surprised if the next gen of like Xboxes and PlayStations launch anywhere close to $500. I think those days are behind us. And frankly, because they're doing this at this point in the generation, 2025, it's still rumored the PlayStation 6 probably comes like late 2027. Xbox's next gen console might be coming late 2026 even. But because they're doing it now, the whole goal is to normalize it, get you used to the price hike now, so that when they launch the next gen of consoles, it's not as jarring. Whereas if they went straight from like 2020 prices to what they're going to do for next gen, it would be super jarring. But they're just going to, again, try to slowly walk you up the ladder, because that's how they do these things. But crazy day, especially after wildly successful earnings, to see like the company riding high and then come and, you know, raise the prices on everything. There's a reason why they didn't raise the prices back, you know, yesterday. There's a reason they're doing it today while they're riding high here, because, you know, they're riding high with investors. Investors' confidence is high. They would have, if they did this, you know, yesterday, this would have signaled to investors that they were anxious about margins. They were worried about it. But because they do it today, it's just business as usual. You know, everything comes down to timing in the corporate world, and this was no accident for sure. So let me know what you think of all of this. I can't say I'm surprised. I'm surprised at how aggressive the hikes are. I think we all were braced for price hikes. Seeing them confirm that they're going to go to 80 with AAA games, like, that also is not that surprising. For games like Call of Duty, I mean, those games just print money, so that's not really a surprise. But nonetheless, it's jarring at the very least. So I don't know. Let me know what you think of all this. Comment section below. I'll be interested in checking them out. I'll be back on stream tomorrow, rocking and rolling. Can't wait to see you then. Much love, my friends. I'll see you soon.